What if your church is incredibly busy, but Jesus would say something is missing? What if we're measuring everything except the things that actually matter? So let me ask you 4 questions. Are we reaching people? Are we discipling effectively? Can we measure the fruit? And perhaps the most uncomfortable question, what would Jesus see if he evaluated our church like he did the churches in Revelation? Because there's a difference between activity and fruit. And as Christian leaders, we need to know the difference. It's possible to have packed calendars, successful programs, and endless meetings, and even growing attendance, and still not be making disciples. Jesus didn't give his followers the Great Commission simply to gather people. He told us to make disciples. So perhaps the question isn't simply, how much are we doing? The better question is, what is all this activity producing? Do you believe that you will give an account for your leadership role before the Lord one day? If you've ever done a performance review with an employer, you will relate to the feeling of anticipation if you know you have performed well, or dread if you have not. We are not trying to earn God's approval through performance, but we are seeking to be faithful with what he has entrusted to us. We want to ensure that you will look forward to this, but now is the time to look at the reality seriously, and then ask yourself, is what we're doing actually producing the kind of fruit Jesus expects? And that's what this leadership series is about. Not another collection of leadership theories, not simply doing more, but thinking carefully about how we move people from where they are to where God wants them to be. Over the next 6 sessions, we're going to look at 6 practical principles. The first principle is think steps and narrow the focus. You'll ask, what exactly are we trying to accomplish? And what are the steps that will actually get us there? We will discuss program-based thinking compared to steps-based thinking and narrow our focus to achieve the correct results. The second principle is plan the work. For each step, we will ask the important questions. What is the goal? What factors will impact our success in this step? And how will we measure progress? The third principle is cast vision convincingly. Each step is going to require volunteers. If the leader can cast an impelling vision effectively, people are far more likely to understand the cause and commit to it. We will talk about ways to cast vision convincingly and effectively. The fourth principle is teach less for more. Society has changed and the way people digest information has changed. As leaders, we need to understand these changes and how to communicate effectively for this generation. The fifth principle is listen to outsiders. What are we failing to see because we're too close to the church? How do people experience our environments, and do they return? How can we set up a system to effectively welcome outsiders and establish a connection for long-term relationship and for discipleship? The sixth principle is keep working on it. Real change rarely happens by repeating our existing programs and expecting different results. It happens when we keep learning, measuring, adjusting, and improving. And underneath all 6 of these principles is one question. Is it working? Not, did we hold the event? Not, did everyone enjoy the program? Not even, did more people attend? But are people actually becoming disciples of Jesus? Are they growing? Are they bearing fruit? And ultimately, what would Jesus see if he evaluated our work? So if you're involved in Christian leadership, I invite you to work through this series with an open Bible and an open mind. Don't just ask, what can I do? Ask the harder question. Are we faithfully doing what Jesus has called us to do? And is our leadership actually producing the fruit he desires? Now is the time to reflect and apply the necessary changes so that we can indeed have a sense of anticipation and not dread to present our work to the Lord. I end from reading from 1 Corinthians 3, verse 13. It says, "As the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. If the work that anyone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss."